Officers quickly confirmed that this was no accident, no ordinary crime. The area was cordoned off, though by then a few neighbors had already seen enough to carry the story into the neighborhood. By noon, the block was crowded with uniformed officers, detectives, reporters, and curious onlookers. The body was posed deliberately. The hands above the head, the legs spread apart. There were no clothes, no purse, no identification. Marks in the dirt suggested the body had been placed there, rather than killed on sight. A faint trail of bloody footprints led toward the street but ended abruptly. Perhaps the killer had worn gloves or covered his shoes. Perhaps he had been careful enough to erase his steps. Detectives from the Los Angeles Police Department's Homicide Division arrived and began working. The scene captain, Jack Donahoe, one of the lead investigators, described it as the most brutal and calculated crime he had seen in his career. Crime scene photographers documented every angle while officers canvassed the neighborhood for witnesses. Some residents claimed to have seen a dark car parked on Norton Avenue in the early morning hours. Others recalled hearing a dog barking furiously around 3 a.m. The body was taken to the county morgue, where the coroner began his examination almost immediately. He estimated the woman had been dead for about 10 hours, meaning she was likely killed sometime between midnight and 2 a.m. The cause of death was determined to be a combination of head trauma and blood loss. The cuts to her face had been made after death. The body had been drained of blood and washed clean before being placed at the scene. Fingerprints taken from the corpse were rushed to the FBI's Identification Division. Using a Y-photo transmission system, within hours they had a match. The victim was 22-year-old Elizabeth Short, known to some as the Black Dahlia. News of the identification reached the press almost as quickly as it reached the police. By the next morning, her name and face were on the front page of every major newspaper in Los Angeles. Her life, which had been a private struggle, and a series of small personal connections, was now public property. Every detail of her movements, relationships, and letters would be dissected for clues. And every person who had crossed her path in the previous months would be considered a potential suspect. By the afternoon, the murder of Elizabeth Short had become the dominant headline in Los Angeles. The details of the crime were too unusual, too gruesome for the public to ignore. Her name was printed in bold type, alongside the words "tortured, mutilated body found in vacant lot." Newspapers scrambled to gather every fact they could, even if those facts were thin or based on rumor. Detectives knew from the start that the killer had not acted in a moment of rage. This was a deliberate act performed with precision. The cutting of the body, the complete drainage of blood, the washing and posing at the scene.